What a beautiful day today. It is nice and sunny out, clear skies, no wind, knock on wood, but hopefully it stays like this the entire week. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been kind of working on the wagon over the weekend and kind of made some progress. But if you guys haven't seen the last videos, I've been grinding out on the wagon, and I mentioned at the very beginning of this trip that I wanted to take the KRX out to the meet coming up this weekend, and realized that the car needs way too many little things. So I decided that I'm going to take the wagon, this Marasaka, and I've just been putting a lot of work into it to get it to be ready to drive 350 miles one way. I think where we left off was installing pieces of the turbo kit and not completely finishing the installation because of painting things, waiting for things to show up, and so on and so forth. So over the weekend, I've actually buttoned all of that up and got most of the stuff put into the car. If you guys remember when I did the initial video of this car being boosted, or even on Instagram when I posted this car numerous of times, everything under here was freaking World Rally blue. Valve cover, charge pipe, turbo, everything. This time around I decided I wanted to go black, and I ended up just painting everything wrinkle black. So we have a wrinkle black valve cover that I welded some bungs onto the back of, and the charge pipe are also wrinkle black. They used to be blue. This is a temporary turbo to get all of the couplers and pipings lined up where I needed to sit. And we also swapped the PRB manifold for this max pitting rod S2 style manifold because this I really don't like the way this one looks. So I swapped it out. Big shout out to Jeremy. I ended up picking that manifold up from him like a couple of months ago. I went to a meet to hang out, and he was like, yo, I got a manifold for sale, you know, anybody interested? I'm like, how much? Gave me a price, and ended up swooping it. So I finally got a new manifold in the wagon, and it looks so much better than the cast PRB style. I also painted the top of my radiator wrinkle black to kind of fit in with the theme of black going on here under the hood, and I also swapped out the fuel rail to the black one that I picked up with the K24 bundle. I just came back from the storage. I picked up my GT3076R because the wagon's last like few odds and end is turbo for being number 1. 2, I need to make a cash can. 3, I need to do the oil pan so we can do the return line. The original turbo that was in this car is a Garrett 60-1, which is this blue housing one right here, and this is great for single cam B series, and I made about 500 on that one, but the back housing is really small and I feel like it spools a little too quickly for K series. I had the issue of the turbo spool time with the 60-1 and VTEC when it was in the wagon, and it really threw the whole entire map off because of them interfering with each other, and I don't want to run it again in this car. I was going to send this GT3582R ball bearing out to get rebuilt, but it wouldn't be back in time to slap it in the wagon, get it tuned days before having to leave. I posted on Instagram looking for turbos for sale. Somebody hit me up with a BorgWarner S300 SX, and it was practically brand new, crazy deal, but the lack of communication led us to today, Monday, and even if I paid for it, I don't think it'll be here in time for me to tune in time to get the car ready for the trip. And if you're watching, bro, no hard feelings, man. You work night shift. I'm up in the daytime, so the communication really didn't work because you're sleeping while I'm awake, I'm sleeping while you're awake, so on and so forth. So I decided that I'm gonna go to the storage, grab my GT3076R. This was in the all-wheel drive CRX, making a little under 500 horsepower, and I had a lot of back pressure issue with this turbo because the back housing is an 83, right, which is what I would prefer to run, but it has a 2.5 outlet. When the car was tuned at 26 psi up top, it'll drop to about 22, 23. So the back housing is pretty small, and I originally was going to save this turbo for the KRX because we're not looking to make a lot of power in the KRX, but because I need a turbo now and I don't want to run the 60-1, I ended up just picking up that turbo from storage a little while ago, and I actually ordered a new back housing for that turbo as well. Let me show you guys. This is the V-band flange. This is V-band clamp. So this is an eBay back housing. It's an 82. I don't know, why does this feel so damn small? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's got a 3-inch outlet. That's what I was shooting for, and I'm hoping that this fits on here without the fins touching the inside. So let's take this apart. So that's awesome. It looks like this housing right here is going to work. This is for the GT30, GTX30, listed on the eBay seller where I got it from, and confirm it does fit a GT3076. So we have the turbo installed, and I have the coupler wedged in there. I had to go through my box to find a small, like 2 2¼ coupler, cut it in half and threw it on there. Now this housing is a little bit smaller, so this little neck, this little outlet is a little shorter than the one that we took off. So there's this giant gap inside the coupler, and you can see how squishy it is right there, up until it meets the pipe down low to the intercooler here. It's about 3 inches of straight rubber. Now Jason Schmuck said, if you're gonna run a coupler anywhere in your system, make sure your pipes are butt up together. Now with the other turbo, the housing actually sat further down, so I wasn't too worried about it. But with this shorter one, the gap is much larger, and I kind of want to, but I don't want to because I already painted the pipe. I wanted to extend that bottom one right there to go up further. And when I get a larger frame turbo and throw it on here, it's going to compensate that gap. So I don't want to modify this and then have to modify it again with a new turbo. So I'm going to leave that alone. We're not making a jillion horsepower where that could potentially expand and pop off. So right now the turbo's secured. I'm not going to put the turbo blanket on just yet because I need to do the water line. So I need easy access to the water line and the return line down low before I put the shield on. So I need to grab the other downpipe, install it in the car underneath. This one right here. And then I'll have to connect the top piece right here. It's a 2-piece downpipe I made back in 2017. And I need to connect the top piece to see where the V-band lands on the turbo. If it's further or closer, I need to modify it accordingly. I'm crossing fingers that it lines up perfectly, but the only thing about it lining up perfectly is this flange is not interlocking. So I mean, it's gonna work still, but I kind of want the interlock to ensure we don't have a leak. But if we have to modify for the interlocking flange, we'll cut accordingly. So I don't know how well you guys can see it down here, but the downpipe is almost fitting. Now I can clock it a little bit and that bottom flange will line up, but it actually doesn't really fit this way. Damn, all my flashlights are freaking dead. Why? This pipe right here actually hits the firewall and I can't get it to close the gap between the 2 V-band flanges right here. So it looks like I'm gonna have to cut this top section of the downpipe and redo it, but then again, that allows me to use the interlocking flange and its matching clamp. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of mock-up. I'm just gonna get right to it, guys, because this is very time consuming, and I do want to make the dump tube as well, because I originally had that coming out the hood right here, and we're definitely not doing it this time around. So I'm just going to go ahead and start chopping all this up, get it all mocked up, and show you guys what we come up with. Next day here, guys, and it's crazy. I lost track of time yesterday because of the hour forward that we got, and I'm so used to the sun going down at about 6:30-ish, but I was kind of like working throughout the night, I guess. By the time I was done fabbing up the dump tube and a new downpipe, it was like 11:30. So last night we got it all mocked up. Everything is just tacked into place right now. It's not fully welded, and I need to do one more piece for the dump tube on this side to go down past the subframe, but it is right now currently sitting near the oil filter. So I need to do one more piece to go down, and then I'm going to pull everything out to fully weld it up. Now, I didn't really show you guys the process of me cutting, mocking, cutting, because it literally took a very long time. Granted, I don't have materials, so I had to like scavenge through the whole entire garage to find pieces to make the new bends to make the new downpipe and stuff, because this time around the dump tube is exiting underneath the car, because before it used to go up. So I needed to make a new downpipe to clear everything, obviously also with the new turbo back housing, but I had to reconfigure this whole entire hot part system, and that took all night. I do want to accomplish a lot more things than just doing that, so that's why I'm just kind of plowing through everything. I do want to try, the word here is try, to see if I can come up with a catch can for this corner right here, since our bung is now in the back instead of the front like it used to be. And I need to figure something out for that. I really just got to push through all of this because I am closing in on the days to get this car ready to drive 350 miles. So I'm just getting right to it, guys. Let's pull the downpipes off and weld them up. So I got my car back on the floor because when the car was jacked up, I had to like put my wheel on the floor and then having to hop over my engine to work in the back side. So now with the car back down on the ground, I can just lean over and, you know, just do whatever I have to do. Make my life easier, because, you know, your boy ain't got money for quick jacks and shit. So anyways, I got the downpipe and dump tube all welded up, and welders know when you have air circulating in the area of your welding spot, you're gonna have like contamination or arc walking and things like that. So I tried my best to weld this up just as I always do, and I think it came out pretty decent. You guys probably saw in the welding clip that I was using my hand to kind of shield the shielding gas, you know what I mean? I was holding it like this to ensure air wasn't going to, you know, blow all the argon away from cooling the welds down. But this looks freaking awesome. Now, it's unfortunate that I have to use old material, but yeah, I'm not even complaining about it. You know what's crazy is, if you guys haven't been around, I don't know, 2017 when I boosted this car, these welds were literally like my second time welding with my new TIG machine at the time. And this was like super hot, really small cup. I'm using a number 6, and I should have showed you guys the downpipe before I threw it in the car. The downpipe is so bad. It's actually, I don't even want to show it to you guys, but just to see the first time welding versus years later, we're still not that great, but it's a lot better than what it was before. So I'm definitely happy about that. Downpipe is pretty much done. Only this one right here looks the way it does because this pipe was already welded from a different downpipe, and I didn't even bother trying to go over that. So that's the only one that looks weird out of the bunch. But here's the dump tube as well, all welded up. Now this tubing right here is like one and a half. I wouldn't say it's 1.5, maybe it's 1.5, but it also transitions over to a bigger tubing. You can see it right there, and then that's the same all the way through. I think this is like 1 1/4 or 1 3/4, 1 3/4, and yeah, I think this is 1.5, 1 3/4. But this is all done, and I didn't realize it that when I added this leg right here, it makes it really hard to put it in the car with the downpipe on. So in this case, I'm gonna have to put the dump tube in first, leave it loosely sitting back there, do the downpipe, and then bolt up the dump tube. So before I do all of that, I'm gonna see if I have any more heat wrap to wrap my downpipe, because I do have heater in this car and it sits above my heater hoses. Obviously I don't want to burn through that, so crossing fingers I still have heat wrap from the Flipper X CRX. Yes sir, I have a good amount in there. Definitely going to be wrapping a downpipe first, and if I have enough, I want to do the dump tube as well. If I don't have enough, I'm just going to wrap the area that becomes really close to my brake line right here, and this hose right there. So find some worm clamps and let's wrap. I'm super stoked to have the downpipe and the dump tube installed in the car, guys. I wanted to put a bung on top of the downpipe to have a wide band sit here and have easy access into the car, right? But I don't have any more bungs. I normally buy them in bundles, but I guess I kind of overlooked it and realized I haven't had any bungs for a long time. I need to order aluminum -10 Welding bungs, steel, and O2 bungs to restock my box. I'm cutting close on my time here, and there's I would just three more things to do. One being the catch can. I got to figure that out. 2 is to make the water lines for my turbo, since it is true ball bearing, and I need to get some fittings to figure out where I'm going to plug the coolant line into the turbo from, and also need to make I don't have a return line. I need to make a return line. I do have the original steel pan bunged over there. This one's aluminum. All right guys, so I have the water lines installed on the turbo to the engine, and the turbo, I mean, on the website it says inlet and outlet, so I ran the lines accordingly. I looked on Google to see what people were using as far as feed and return for the cooling system for the turbo, and on the diagram it showed that people were using the idle air control valve water line, which comes off the neck right here, and it comes off the bottom hose right there. I'm not running an idle air control valve because I'm using a B series throttle body, so those water lines were kind of already like available for me to use. They were just looped together. So the inlet, I am running based off the diagram. The inlet is coming off this water pipe down here, and we're talking about inlet and outlet because of the flow of the cooling system. This one right here is adapted to the AN line with these hose clamping a barb in between. There's about 2 inches in there to ensure we're not going to leak, and that's going to the inlet of the turbo down there somewhere, right? This line right here. And then the outlet of the turbo, this line is going to the radiator neck, the aluminum part right here, and that's clamped on as well. I don't have any weld-on fittings to make it all AN, but this should work perfectly fine, so that's out of the way. I just want to say that if your turbo is a true ball bearing, be sure to run your water lines, because if you guys remember my H22 Turbo CRX, I have this authentic Garrett GT3076R turbo, and I never ran the water lines on it. After the dyno session, I took it to the track and pretty much overheated and blew up the turbo. A lot of shaft play. I am eventually going to get this turbo rebuilt by like pure turbo or something, and make that a usable turbo again. But for the time being, I'm just gonna run what I have that works, this sucker right here, and then eventually we'll, I don't know if I'm gonna use a 35R on here. I want a Borg Warner. So anyways, the next thing I'm gonna do right now, guys, is the return line. I had another steel pan that I shown you guys earlier on the floor, and what I did was I patched it up and then I welded a -10 bung on there, and now we have our return line. So if you look right there, that big -10, that is the return line from the turbo, and then it goes down underneath here. I'll show you guys really quickly. That's the return line going to the pan, and the pan is all secured. I really was just trying to avoid doing the oil pan, because one, it takes a lot of time, and two, draining my fresh oil that was in it. So now I need to go get engine oil, and the last thing I need to do on the list is a catch can. Now, because it is late, granted this hour forward, I don't want to cut material to make a catch can right now, but definitely going to change like the entire setup when I have more time to work on it. I think right now I'm gonna try to figure out if I can use my Moroso catch can and figure out some lines for it. But I do definitely want a custom catch can, so I'm gonna figure this out. So I decided to not use the Moroso catch can because of the bungs on the opposite end, and there's just really no place for it to sit right here. What I ended up doing was I called my buddy Kel at Kelly Built, and I was talking to him about a catch can setup for the car and how fast he can whip one up. Now, Kel is a busy guy, and big thank you for even making the time to consider making me the layout for the catch can. He told me cat it up, and he can draw it up and cut it out probably, you know, an hour or so, give or take. But big shout out to Kel for doing me this favor, man. I really need this catch can before we get this car tuned, and this is the catch can I came up with. He told me all the little things to watch out for, like making sure I have space to wiggle around, make sure it's nice and snug where I need it to be, and keep the numbers within the increments of 1/4 inch. So I made up this catted catch can, and it's pretty much ready to get drawn up, but we're not going to show any of that in today's video, guys, because it is like, it's super late right now, and he can only do it for me squeezing it in with his daily activities tomorrow. So I'm gonna drop this off. He's gonna work his magic, and he's gonna pretty much bend, cut everything I need to make a catch can, and then I am going to weld it up here. So not much more I can do tonight, guys. I pretty much did everything I wanted to do in this last 2 days span. I actually don't even remember what we did, but we got the turbo officially on. All the lines ran, return, feed, water lines. Oil pan is bunged for the return line. All the pipings and everything. I don't know if I did that in the last video, but it's pretty much ready to go. So before we get this car ready for the dyno, transmission fluid, coolant, oil, I'm going to turn the car on with the stock injectors, make sure everything works good and dandy, because we did swap over to the B series throttle body. So I got to make sure if there's a calibration for B series TPS, I gotta calibrate that. But other than that, it should fire over. I mean, all it is was just taking off a header and putting on a different header attached to a turbo, and just double checking, make sure nothing is leaking. And then once we get the catch can this thing is ready to rock and roll. I hope you guys enjoyed today's. That's Kel right there. So yeah, anyways, sir, you in the garage still?
Yeah, I just got here right now.
You just got here right now? Give me 1 second.
You?
Give me 1 second. All right, 1 second, Mr. KB. 1 second. You can watch me live, all right? And I know you're gonna be screenshotting this and putting it on Instagram or something. So anyways, guys, super late in the night, kind of how it was back in the days before the daylight saving BS, but we did a lot, and this thing is ready for a tune real soon. Hopefully tomorrow night, or Friday. Friday's kind of pushing it because we leave literally the next day. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave it a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around and see the tune and the trip down to SoCal, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.